Cutting and cracking our way through a Thursday in the good land. It's the Huddle. 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison, everywhere on the iHeart app, streaming live, Facebook, X, Twitter, soon to be on Twitch.
Yes, Discord.
TikTok, Discord, LinkedIn,
All
everywhere you can find us. It's Drew, Billy, and Armin. Look for us.
You might even be on Steam. You might even be able to watch us on your gaming console if we can figure that one out.
Maybe.
What's Steam now? Is that like a new dating app or something like that? Or no? Oh, no. There's a different one.
What, are you interested in dating apps?
Nope.
Ashley Madison is the one you're looking
get
for.
out of here. Don't even joke about that stuff.
Don't even joke about
pretty
that.
Funny. Did you ever see a documentary on that? Oh, never mind.
I never did. Well, yeah, we got Hunter with us. Hunter Baumgardt getting up early, our Brewers go-to guy, the guy who voiced the intro to our program.
I love when big voice guy appears.
Big voice guy is with us. Hunter, thanks for waking up. How you doing?
I'm good. What a transition.
Yes, indeed. All right, so Hunter.
Hunter's got jokes.
He's got jokes.
From his Ashley Madison days.
We don't need to talk too much about the 13-12 game last night or Brice Turang's 2 bombs because it is spring training, but the World Baseball Classic getting ready. Young guys are going to get opportunities and looks like they often do in spring training. So as we are rolling through and we are now today 4 weeks away from opening day, what's Hunter's take on the state of the Brewers, the camp that they're having, positional battles? The floor is yours, Hunter. Give us like 60 seconds so we can just sit back and have a drink and listen to you where the Brewers are at this point in camp.
Yeah, well, you guys were doing the Wisconsin State of the Union yesterday, so we can give you a Brewers State of the Union here a few days into Brewers camp. I think with where it's so hard to put any stock into, number one, the final scores, right? They went on a walk-off sac fly by Greg Jones yesterday. I mean, it's always good to win, right? But at the end of the day, when they were 0-4, I don't think we were nearly as worried as maybe when they were 0-4 last year after the first 4 games of the regular season. So it's not about the results, but you're seeing some really exciting things happen. Obviously, Jesus Madej with a great day yesterday. Awesome. You saw the triple, just the flick of the wrist. Go and check that out. The Brewers posted the video of Madej with that triple, and it's just it's such an effortless swing, and that's the type of stuff. He so reminds me of what we saw with Jackson Chourio early on, is you can just see the makings of why this guy's going to be successful. And of course he has a lot to prove, and he probably won't see the big leagues this year, but it's going to come sooner rather than later. And it's going to be fun when that day comes. So I think that's the type of thing you're excited to see. Obviously a 2-home run day by Turang is something you're excited to see. The guys that are going to play in the WBC are getting more playing time. The Turang, the Ortiz, Abner Uribe you saw the other day. Obviously Contreras has caught some. And you're also seeing the ABS challenges come, which is exciting as well. And you're seeing what it's used for, right? The Pirates and Red Sox game. I know there's a pitch almost right down the middle that was called a ball challenge. That's why this thing is happening. And then great to see Garrett Mitchell as well on the field for the first time yesterday. And his goal yesterday was to just feel good and get back and really, dive into a base and feel good. You know, the simple things for Garrett Mitchell a month away from opening day.
Well, and you mentioned it with just diving back into a base and being able to get up and be all right. I liked Adam's piece over at Brewers.com talking about his rehab. And I mean, that's a tough thing to go through when it's a very, very lonely feeling when so many of these guys are so young and have grown up professionally together. To be taken away from that group's got to be a tough deal, right? Like, I mean, we saw it with the brotherhood of the U.S. hockey team. These guys may be a little bit different, but they spend so much time together. It's 7 months together where they're seeing each other every single day almost. When you're going up through the ranks, it's got to be difficult to have those issues. The other guy in there, Hunter, that we've been able to see a tick of was Jet Williams. And he had the big triple, and he's starting to play a little bit more up the middle. What's the thought here? You're right. I think that would be a little pie in the sky to think there's a shot that he's on the team in 2026. But I don't know that it is with Jet Williams, and it feels like he's doing what he needs to make that a conversation.
For sure. And I think you will see him in 2026, just depending on injury, just depending on opportunity, depending on how guys at the major league level perform, all of those things combined. I'm interested to see if he continues to play well, and he's going to get even more playing time now that Ortiz and Turang are going to be leaving in a couple of days. So with that being the case, I'm interested to see how he takes that opportunity and runs with it. But also, is it a chance? Do they decide, okay, we're going to keep him as a utility man and keep him at the major league level and give him some playing time here and there, maybe, because or do you just put him at AAA and you say, okay, he's going to get consistent at bats there. He only has 34 games in AAA in his career. And that's going to be the decision. I would think they lean towards AAA where he can get consistent at bats and then bring him up when he's going to get more consistent at bats at the major league level, because I see Rengifo as being your third baseman. I see David Hamilton as being your utility man. And then Ortiz, your shortstop, and Turang, your second baseman. So if that's going to be the case, yes, it's Jet Williams can play shortstop, probably better than a David Hamilton can. But if Ortiz is going to be your guy, as Pat Murphy has basically said, and then Rengifo is going to be your guy at third, I just think you put Jet Williams probably to start the year in Nashville, and maybe he comes up sooner rather than later when there's an opportunity to do that. Or if David Hamilton is really struggling at the plate, you make a change there and you put Jet Williams as your main backup. And if you want a platoon, you can. I think Rengifo is going to get most of the playing time at third base. I think he's maybe a little bit of a better option right now than Jet Williams over there, just because he's been there, done that. But you have a lot of infielders that are better up the middle, but somebody's going to have to play third base.
Well, and the thing is, we focus so much on how you start the season, but as we know, guys, things are going to change. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be nonlinear performance. There's going to be all these things that might constitute a change down the road anyway. So what we're going to see once the season starts is definitely not what we're going to see in the 6 months after that, right, Hunter? We might get chances, if the Brewers are in a mix, if they're fighting for a playoff spot, maybe they're going to try and bring one of these guys up to try and play it or shuffle the positions around just to try and provide a spark.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Brock Wilken or Cooper Pratt, I think have a better shot at making the majors than maybe, say, a Madej or a Pena or Fisher this coming season. So you could see them possibly late in the year. And we all remember Vinny Capra and Oliver Dunn was your platoon at third base to start last season. And then quickly it was Caleb Durbin. And then Caleb Durbin became a top 3 rookie of the year candidate. So I think that just shows where, yes, the opening day roster, people put a lot into it, but that does not mean that even a couple of weeks into April, that could change. And I think with the Brewers, they have always done a really good job of using guys up and down, using their options to their advantage, and using guys in their minor league system to impact the major league level. And then, okay, if they need to be sent down, they go back and they maybe spend a little more time at the AAA level.
Talking to Hunter Baumgardt, our Brewers go-to guy, all things Brewers. I saw a story the other day, and he's hardly talked about Trevor McGill.
Great one.
That was, there's guys in Packers camp all the time, Billy. They're like, how come I never hear anything about that guy?
Yeah.
Right. And Trevor McGill is one of those guys that you don't really hear about.
Just passing, which is actually a very, very important position that he's going to be for all the way down. You would think.
Yeah. So, Hunter, where are you with the back end of the bullpen? A lot of folks say, like, Uribe might be the closer in waiting. Like, they still have Trevor McGill. So how does the back end look right now?
Yeah, I love that they kept him. I know there was rumors and still is to a certain extent about whether they trade him because of Abner Uribe's, emergence and his ability to take that role when McGill was out last year. I still think your bullpen's in a really good spot if you have those guys in your 8th inning and your 9th inning each and every night. And I do wonder who takes the reins on that. I would think maybe veteran status, Trevor McGill takes it to start the season and then see how he does. And then if they need to make a change, they make a swap. Abner Uribe definitely has the swagger, and we saw what he can do in the 9th inning. We saw what he can do in 2 innings of closing the baseball game in Game 5 against the Cubs. So he's clearly comfortable in that position now. I would think that you'll go Abner Uribe in the 8th and then McGill in the 9th, but you also know that McGill ended last year on a so-so note with the injuries. Obviously, he was pitching at the end of the year, but he still hopefully had a good offseason, everything like that. So you want to be careful a little bit with him. But I got to think that he was your closer last year until Uribe took it over when he got injured. So I got to think the job is probably McGill's to lose. But either way you slice it, maybe they kind of go in and out. Maybe some nights it's Uribe, some nights it's McGill. I kind of want one guy to take that over and say, okay, it's your job. You're expected to pitch in the 9th inning every night, because I think that is a mentality, especially in that role, to have. And we've seen, many guys flourish when they have had, okay, it's your 9th inning to lose, basically. I feel like McGill is going to be that guy to start, but I'm fascinated what they do. But I love the back end of the bullpen. You still have Koenig back there, and then you throw in a bunch of different guys, whether it be Ashby or Zastryzny and different guys coming back. DL Hall, all guys that I think will end up in that bullpen.
Well, and that's interesting. You led me right to it of who would be like the next guy. Obviously, Koenig pitched some leverage spots, but bullpen arms are as up and down as flavors of the day on a menu board. It feels like at Culver's, right? Like the one year you can be great, another year you can be a huge question mark, and all of a sudden Yoel Payamps is all over AAA, and people are like, I can't wait to never see him pitch again. He was nails for you for a year. Like, does Zerpa kind of you think that is one of the reasons why he's been brought in to be one of the next leverage guys? Because when they've been at their best, Hunter, as much as I hope Jacob Mizorowski pitches 180 innings and has a number of 6-inning gems that he's starting. And, Brandon Woodruff's able to give you 25 starts or whatever it is. And you're seeing some like Kyle Harrison and company, but they're probably going to have 5-inning guys, 5 2/3, get their 17 ounce and roll through. A lot of times that third and fourth leverage arm ends up being almost more important. Who do you think are those next guys after?
Yeah, I think with the way the Brewers have set up their depth this year, it is not necessarily going to be all about how long can your starter go, especially with, it sounds like Brandon Woodruff is a little up in the air for opening day, and you just want to make sure, and he clearly wants to make sure he's ready when it comes to August, September, and October, rather than necessarily April and May. So I think you're going to see some, piecing together at times. You're going to see maybe, Aaron Ashby, who seemingly started every game in the NLCS for the team, maybe get an opener here and there. They're going to be creative because they have so many options that could be starters. I mean, they have so many this year. I think you'll still see a 5-man rotation at its core, but then are there days where maybe they throw in a 6th guy or do a bullpen day or something to maybe, give Woodruff an extra day or give some of these guys some extra time? Yes. When it comes to that leverage role or some of those roles in the back of the bullpen, I think Serpa's really an opportunity to hold on to that, whether it be 6th, 7th inning on a day maybe where Koenig can't go. However, the lineup is obviously looking when it comes to the opponent as well. So I think he could start Serpa, but I really do think he's that middle relief bullpen guy. DL Hall is probably your length more than a leverage. Ashby did a really good job in leverage, late inning leverage role last year. I think he stays there. Pat Murphy has said he really liked what Aaron Ashby could do last year. And Ashby was saying recently how he feels like he is going to be, his buildup to whether it be a starter or whether it to be pitch almost every day, it feels like is relatively similar just because you're putting so many innings on your arm. So he's good with however he can, help the team win. And I think honestly, with the way this pitching staff is as a whole, I think you're really best served for Aaron Ashby to be kind of that leverage guy when you need him, or maybe some innings in the middle when you need him, but have him be in that bullpen. So I would look at Serpa next, and then I would look at Ashby and DL Hall coming next.
Because the way the Brewers like to operate, and obviously with their starters, they're never going to go long. And I think, more than any other big, headline guy, the consistency of those guys in the middle relief is going to dictate winning and losing consistently more than anything. You're going to need a lot of those quality innings and outs from those guys. And that's where Nick Mears gave you a lot of that last year. Now, they moved on from Nick Mears. So that's a lot of innings and a lot of performance to fill in because he was pretty good most of the year. And, I would agree. And would you say, Hunter, those are the most important guys to fill in those outs that Nick Mears left?
For sure. I think the fact that you got Zerpa back in the deal for Nick Mears, I think is significant. I think he can play that type of role. And I'm interested to see what the Brewers pitching staff can do with him, get him in spring training and seeing how they can kind of mold him. Rob Zastryzny is someone you can't forget about as well. Rob Z is a guy who can get outs when you need him, a lefty there out of the bullpen. So I think there's a couple guys, and like you said, it's of course the starters are going to be important in the 5-man rotation, but then who comes after, who stays at the major league level, right? Is Robert Gasser, Logan Henderson, where do those guys fit? If they don't make the rotation, do you keep them in the bullpen or do you have them be in your AAA rotation? I tend to think they're AAA until they're needed, whether it be injury or a spot start or something like that. I tend to think that's where they go. But I'm interested to see where those guys land.
The Brewers there were several years in a row where they didn't have a lefty starter in the rotation. And now, so you got Woodruff, Priester, and Miz, and then the last 2 spots, looks like Patrick and Kyle Harrison. Do you think, Murph, you mentioned the opener possibility and the options they have. Is there a compulsion to throw in another lefty to mix things up Like, and I know they like if you go from Miz to somebody who doesn't throw as hard, or like they like to
little variance
from game to game. Do you think there's that option? Like, who would be the leading lefty candidate to take the ball in a starting role?
I would think that it would be Aaron Ashby, but then again, I feel like they love him. It just seems like they love him in that bullpen role. So like they paid him the contract, they extended him. He's I think the third longest tenured Brewer now behind Woody and Yelly. So you think about that and where he is, and it's like, yeah, he's been here a long time, and he's never really. He's never, had just, okay, go, you're a starter, go, kind of like, and we've seen it for a whole season. So that would be interesting. I just think they saw what he could do last year in the role he was in. And I think they're like, oh my, let's keep this guy where he was, late in the season, what he was doing. So he would be, but DL Hall's an interesting one as well. Like, we still have, and he said he's feeling the most healthy he's been in a Brewer uniform coming into this spring. So I would love to see it's possible that he is also has an opportunity.
He wants it. I know
he wants it, and not to necessarily make it maybe out of camp, but to, I don't know, maybe come a month into the season, they're like, yeah, we want to have some more innings out of a lefty in a starter role. Maybe DL Hall is the guy. Look, he came back in a significant trade for the organization. I got to think they want that to work, continue to work out even better than it has, because he's been a little injury prone. Obviously, Ortiz, great defensively, not so great offensively. I think both of those guys, Ortiz and Hall, are going to have opportunities. Whether Hall is in the rotation or bullpen, we'll have to see.
I think you hit it on the head there, Hunter. Because Drew, I was wondering if it would be a Gasser. I was wondering if it would be Ashby or Hall. But you might want to try to make yourself right on that Burns trade. You might want to take one last gas and see if it could work. But I wonder if there would be like a couple, right? Like a pairing. Maybe it would be Hall for 3 innings, and then it's clearly you're going to get doubled up with Priester, right? Because Priester was the second candidate, right? Maybe Patrick's that guy this year, but I loved him just taking the ball and ripping 5 innings last year, because it seems like he's just got too much of a starter mentality to not go and take one of those spots.
For sure. And what Priester was able to do, opener or not, last year was obviously super impressive. So there are going to be times where they do the opener gambit, so to speak.
Mix and match.
They'll mix and match. Like I said, I think they'll start with a 5-man rotation, but then they'll have opportunities to go, okay, we're going to give Woody an extra day here. Maybe we got an off day tomorrow. We're just going to go with a bullpen day, but maybe that's a DL Hall start, or maybe that's a different guy starting the game, and maybe you get bulk innings from Aaron Ashby that day. So what the Brewers have done is they felt like they had a lot of depth when it came to the position player group, and specifically the infield. So they took away from that, and they got pitching back. And they really looked at last year. And I got to think that last year, when you had Elvin Rodriguez and Tyler Alexander making, starts for you in the first month of the season, it kind of shocked the system a little bit and went, okay, we need to make sure we are covered pitching wise.
They want depth.
And they're covered pitching wise.
Yeah,
now.
No doubt.
Getting those guys that can go 50 pitches 2-3 times a week.
That's the key.
Guys that, the two inning guys, a lot of swing guys that are stretched out, which, that's,
you can get 50 appearances instead of 25, Drew. I like those. I like that impact almost a little more.
And that's the Ashby theory, like more.
Even if they're not quote unquote starters, you could have 8 guys that can act as this sort of nebulous idea of a starter that the Brewers are doing now. And that's kind of what it is.
That's quite the role. All right, Hunter, we buried the lead on the way out here. The Brewers making sensations with their social media team. The Mizorowski video, 7 million views last I checked. That's just off the charts. They're winning spring training.
For sure. I love how creative they have always been, but obviously this is a different level of creativity and the talent they have on that team. But also, I've always thought that they have had a fantastic pulse on the Brewers fans and what type of content Brewers fans want to see. So now not only are they mixing that with some just out of the box thinking. Obviously the Sal Frelick video was awesome. And then you have the Jacob Mizorowski and the Apple. And Armin and I were standing around my computer going, okay, you're seeing the same thing, right? Like this, what are we looking at here?
When you first see it, it's wild. Yeah. But we're like, this can't be real. And then you
Exactly.
see the apple bound. It was amazing work. It's like you said though. It's the idea first. The creativity is first. So it's pretty
Totally. And it sounds like they have more coming as well. So yeah, they've crushed it for many years, and this is it seems like a whole nother level for the 2026 season. So can't wait.
It's pretty good.
Now, as I'm listening to the Foul Territory boys, I know they had Pierzynski there this week, so you got a lot of interviews. If Brewers fans want, I would urge you to go and listen to it. You hear a lot of your favorite players. They were still right around a lot of different projections. They're like, I think they'll be above 500. I think they'll win like 84 games. I think they'll be okay. I'm not going to bet on the downfall, but I don't know that they're winning 90 plus. I don't know that they're doing this. I don't know that they're beating the Cubs. There still seems to be a hesitancy to buy into the kind of young players that the Brewers have. Who, Hunter, in your eyes, is that one that takes the superstar step? Because it feels like Brice Turang unlocked a different level. I know the easy answer is Jackson Chourio, but he maybe had the quietest 2020 season that you're going to have a year ago. Is it somebody not mentioned, or is it William Contreras healthy? Like, who out of their front line 4 or 5 guys, in your eyes, is the most important this year to have a big year, that they just can't go and be the team they want to be if he's not at his best?
Contreras, I think that answer is Contreras, because he's healthy. I think he even had a solid season with a broken finger that looked awful last year, and somehow, and just was able to just adjust throughout the season and play through it, honestly. And he's feeling great here in spring training, which is awesome. I think so Contreras is the answer to, if the Brewers want to be the team they want to be, I think Contreras has to be key. Who can take that superstar step? I got to think it's Brice Turang. Boy, you put that power with that glove, with that speed. I mean, you're talking rare territory for Brice Turang to be in, and lock him up as soon as possible, because he has a really good season this year, and it's going to get tougher and tougher.
Is there any chance?
Quick.
Do you guys think there's any chance, like, out of the guys that would Madej, you think, get a deal before he plays in the big leagues, before Brice Turang gets a deal?
So. I think that's
maybe
possible.
Feels like that one's in line.
I think there's a chance, if he doesn't want to if he gets a nice offer and doesn't want to screw around and roll the dice in the future with the new,
let's give him some upfront money. Come on,
upfront, and maybe he just wants to be in a place like Milwaukee where he doesn't have to talk to anybody. I think
that's
he'd be
fair.
perfect.
Hit that bell. Yeah, you're right on that.
He's like, I don't want to deal with any of these other cities where people have to talk. You guys will keep me here. I'm fine.
Pretty good call.
Really quick, what do you think of ABS so far? It seems like fans are split. Like, it's kind of cool, but it might hold up the game a little too much for some people that feel like we made progress with pitch clock. Let's not stop the flow now.
Sure, I think it's about as quick as you're going to have. I don't think there's going to be, and I don't think they're going to be challenging every other pitch either. I think it's going to be pretty selective. It sounds like just the catchers and the hitters are pretty much going to do it. It doesn't sound like the Brewers are going to have their pitchers necessarily challenging. They're going to rely on their catchers, and William Contreras is probably, going to be one of the best at it, because he's so good at that catching position, every aspect of it. So I love it, though. It's to get the egregious calls right, and it's to turn a walk to a strikeout, or a strikeout to a walk, and it's changing a count from 2-1 to 1-2, or whatever it is. Let's get it right. And it sounds like, from what Sal Frelick was, as Billy, you said there on Foul Territory, he was saying that he's talked to the umpires a couple times, and they like it, because they want to know, okay, what is this? What is a strike in this system? So then I can be the best I can be, and so then I get the most calls right. So it sounds like umpires, for the most part, are liking it early on, and I think fans will too. I don't think it's going to hold it up. They do it so quick, 10 to 15 seconds, boom, you get the call, and there's a little, there's going to be some oohing and eyeing, I think, in the stadium too. So
and the animation is better than the first down measurement in football. And Drew, listen, Hunter's right. I think most umpires like it. I don't think old boy in the one game I saw the other day, who missed 5 consecutive pitches and had every single one of them challenged, I don't know that he was loving it. I don't think he was loving it. But listen, we're going to get better. All right, there's going to be down days, but we're going to get better. The only way to go is up.
Well, I thought it was funny. Phil Cuzzy announced his retirement or whatever, right?
Yeah,
that
he's going to be a consultant. A lot of the old guys are leaving. It's a changing of the guard, no question. Hunter Baumgardt, great Brewers fix today. Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Absolutely, always enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
Hunter Baumgardt, our Brewers go-to guy, amazing. The
best.